Welcome. An exciting and new podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Brian.
Special guest all the way from Canada,
Kevin.
I was afraid I was going to be able to hear him over all the screaming.
I forgot that it was the.
Me too.
I forgot the Halloween music.
That first sound popped in, and I was like,
It scared me. I jumped.
Kevin from north of the border.
I was scared.
Kevin's our one fan. Now he's not.
So now we're back. We're back down to 0 fans.
Well, I saw how the sausage was made, so I'm never even listening again.
All right.
That sounds about right.
We're here today to discuss Slumber Party Massacre. I don't know why music's still playing. That's the longest I think we've ever had music going.
Yeah, the Halloween one has a lot.
I like that. Yeah,
it won't actually. I added in.
I feel like we're like we're in a radio, like a real radio show now. Like, you know, I'm like, turn that shit down.
Do you want me to turn it
No,
off?
no, I'm kidding. Slumber Party Massacre, released September 10th, 1982. So a little closer to Halloween with this one. With Basket Case was March
this
of
actually
82. So
September movies are good for Halloween. That's fine.
I think so. Yeah, get you excited for Halloween. Yeah, it's the back in 82. It was a little cooler in September as well.
Better than Creepshow that came out in November. It's just like whatever.
True. This is an hour and 17 minutes long.
It felt longer.
It felt much longer than that in parts.
On the good side of things, you can stream this anywhere. This was the easiest one to find.
There's probably no copyright on this anymore. It's public domain. No one wants
Nobody
to
wants to admit
no one
that
wants to own it.
No. You keep it. No, it's yours. All right, here's our. Do you want the small IMDb description or the longer one?
I think we need both tonight.
Okay. The small description is a female high school student's slumber party turns into a bloodbath as a newly escaped psychotic serial killer wielding a power drill prowls her neighborhood. Russ Thorne, by the way, his name is Russ Thorne. Great serial killer name, Russ Thorne.
I didn't think he should have a cordless battery-powered drill, but I looked it up and they had them. So
I also think
you didn't think they had them available then?
Terrible murder weapon. I mean, like you're starting up a drill in a residential area that might draw attention.
That's true.
Okay, no, don't you remember? He literally starts, at one point, he starts the thing up in the middle of like a suburban neighborhood, nothing but crickets out there. And the two high school dudes are busy ogling the women through the window. One of them says, "Did you hear something?" "No, I didn't hear anything." They heard it by the tracks, guy. What the fuck? I know those are great bits, but holy jeez.
Luckily, those guys both got killed later on, so that justified.
I'm
all
happy
that.
they got killed. There's so many people I'm happy got killed in this.
And here's Andy's favorite, the longer description.
It's going to be longer than the actual movie. If this takes an hour and 20 minutes, cut them off.
I got to take a deep breath here.
Just reads the script and that's it.
An 18-year-old high school girl is left at home by her parents, and she decides to have a slumber party. There is friction between some of the invited guests and the new girl, who is better at basketball than they. So the new girl decides to stay at home, which is conveniently across the street from the host's house. Meanwhile, a murderer of 5 people with a propensity for power tools has escaped and is at large, and eventually makes his way to the party where the guests begin experiencing an attrition problem, with only the new girl there to help them.
Is this World War I? There's an attrition problem.
That's the longer description.
That makes this movie sound so much smarter than it actually is.
That's the movie I wanted to see. What I saw was just a parade of boobs and then some murders.
I can't say I minded it, though.
Oh, I'm not saying it was wrong. I'm just saying it's not what's written on this piece of paper.
True.
Cast?
Usually we go into the
No gas.
Usually we go into the cast here, and for example, Michael Villela is the guy who plays Russ Thorne, the serial killer, and he had only 9 credits on his IMDb. And one of them was this, and the rest was stuff that was even less.
And none of them were
lesser known than this.
Sophie's Choice or anything like that. Gandhi. No.
Not even like a Love Boat episode or anything like that, you know?
No, these people were way below Love Boat standards.
The only one who did anything after this was the director.
Yes, she did. Female director back in 1982.
Amy Holden Jones, her top 4. She was a writer for her top 4.
Oh, really?
On IMDb, yeah. Her top 4 was.
I didn't even notice it was a woman director.
The Resident, which is a TV show.
I cheated and looked her up as I was watching this, and she has like big credits on
3
her
movies that she wrote that you probably know: Mystic Pizza,
which I think she directed also.
Indecent Proposal,
which I think she directed also.
And Beethoven.
Holy cow.
The Amadeus sequel,
the Charles Grodin Beethoven,
the Saint Bernard movie.
That is a wide expanse of
right.
And this is like her
movies.
first. This is her direct.
This is great.
Debut.
And 2 minutes in, she's got boobs on the screen.
I like that. There's also an impossibly high palm tree.
I noticed.
Yes.
when she
The opening shot, yeah.
when she comes out of her house, I'm like, all right, this is like. Because the kid's delivering papers to start the movie, and there's leaves on the
creepiest organ music, even though nothing's happening.
and there's leaves on the ground. So obviously it's fall, and it's obviously on the East Coast because there's leaves on the ground. And he's delivering the papers, and then all of a sudden they pulled to that shot with the palm tree. I'm like, wait, whoa. This is California now? What
How
happened?
the hell did that palm tree get that tall?
That was
insane.
It was very big.
world record.
It has to be.
So besides the director, did you do her top 4?
I did her top 4 writing credits. That's what I
okay.
just gave you, but I didn't have her directing. If you had any directing,
I just saw that she was the director of Mr. Pizza and stuff
yeah.
like that.
So yeah,
that's
she
like
was
that's Julia
she definitely had
Roberts and
quite a decent career. Yeah,
I'll say.
She chose to do this one. I read up. She chose to direct this instead of be an editor on E.T.
Damn.
Was she an editor by trade? Is that what she
That's
started
it. She
off
was
as?
an editor, but she wanted to get into directing. So they said, "Well, you want to direct, you got to direct." So here you go. Here's 200 grand.
She gave up E.T. for this. I wonder how her life
well, it would have been editor on ET. So,
But some of these guys, like I know Quentin Tarantino talks about his editor all the time, like in such high regard. So some of these guys, when they find their editor,
they stick with him. Yeah,
I don't
got
know,
a job
but
for
she
life.
made $200,000 for this movie.
No, they gave her a $200,000 budget.
that was
Movie made $3 million, so everybody was happy with
This
it.
was made on $200,000.
wasn't
in
Basket Case
1980,
on like 16,000,
but it was $200,000 in ¡82.
That's true.
So it's at least
So remember, because
It's like
like
$7 million.
Andy just said, Basket Case was 16,000.
That's true.
Someone just maxed out their credit cards to make
that's
that.
what it was. Yeah, you're right. It's like when Kevin Smith made Clerks.
That 16,000 for Basket Case versus 200,000 for Slumber Party Massacre. I could see, yeah.
Yeah, but
It makes
I like
sense.
the frontal nudity in this one.
I was going to say
better
that
than
every
the frontal
boob that was
nudity.
shown was another $20,000. Just like, well, you
Yeah.
take off your top, here's
Yeah.
$20,000.
But this movie was lacking Belial's gooey substance on the bottom of him when he's pulled from the body.
That's true. That sucking sound.
Oh my God.
I was a big fan of Belial. You called him what? Do you remember?
Bialy.
Yeah, Bialy. And you were like, "Boo, boo, boo."
So this movie starts off with the paper boy delivering the papers.
From
and
Atlanta?
not paper boy.
Oh, okay.
The paper boy delivering the papers in
Real
Chicago.
quick,
and then-
Paperboy, the video game. Loved it.
Loved it. I played it
Love that
yesterday. But the headline says murderer Russ Cole or whatever his name is on
Russ
the loose.
Thorne.
Russ Thorne. And then when she's getting out of bed, the radio says that. The radio says there's a
Russ
murderer on
Thorne.
the loose. There's nothing said at school. Like, hey, how about you guys like
Watch
team
out for
up,
the murderer.
Watch your backs. Be in pairs or groups. Nothing. Nothing.
There
made
definitely should have been some sort of announcement or even an assembly of some sort.
That was the first, like when the school day ended and they left school. I'm like, no one made reference to the fact that a serial killer's on the loose.
Well, later on in the movie, they're doing another thing where I think it was the gym teacher driving in her car and the report comes on about the murder. And she turns
And she turned it
the channel.
off. Yes. Like,
This is a small community.
old news.
Fake news.
What the hell? 1982, people believed what was on the news. Like now.
And now no one does, or they only believe what they watch on their channel.
I took a glance at the parents' guide on IMDb. What would you say for sex and nudity? Would you say there was a decent amount? Or
there was a scene where they panned up. The girl was in the shower, and they just They just panned down to her ass, hung on that
shower scene, panned down,
and then they just panned back up. I was like, "What is happening?"
I was like, "Oh, this is awesome."
There you go. During an extended sequence, an entire women's basketball team is taking a shower. Breasts and buttocks are seen, including 2 close-ups on 2 different women's bare buttocks.
Yes, because one girl was walking into the shower and just decided to take her towel off right there.
Yeah.
To be bare buttocks. And I always like to quote my wife with her favorite line from the movie. This one was, "I think your tits are getting bigger."
Oh, wait.
Because she said, I think your tits are getting bigger.
I have that as my favorite line right here. Hey, your tits are getting bigger with the question mark. Yeah. That's it.
That was a good one.
That's my favorite line.
It's really important to note that at this point, we're like 8 minutes into the movie.
Yes. We have
no one's died
really
yet.
making sure you're not getting bored.
No one's died yet, right?
Yeah, I have Michelle. I have to write down. Michelle
died.
did give her score before we came
Yeah, kills
down.
the telephone repair woman.
The incredibly hot telephone repair woman.
Well, I
By
know
the way, we see 2 blue-collar workers in this, a telephone repair woman and a carpenter woman. How many women were doing this jobs in 1982?
I think that was what made me look up who the director of this was, because I put down, I'm like, female phone line repair, female handyman. I'm like, that's really odd. So progressive for 1982. And then I looked up the director, female. I'm like, oh,
makes sense.
So she was like,
yeah,
you guys all get jobs. You all have jobs. Someone's gonna.
She was like
gas.
Oprah. You have jobs. You all have jobs.
And she didn't shy from killing them.
That's true too. Oh yeah, and you have to show your tits, but that's fine.
What did you guys think of the neighbor, Mr. Contant? I think his name was
Mr. Snail Slasher, whatever the fuck. This guy walks around the neighborhood with a machete killing snails. And everyone thinks that's fine. You know, apparently, oh, yeah, my dad does the same thing. Really? I've lived in suburbs my whole life. I've never known anyone to do this shit.
I've never seen a movie with so many hands on shoulders from behind.
Yes.
When it's not the, because he did it twice,
Mm-hmm.
and he did the machete thing once, and there was another couple times where the person would just like hand on roughly.
It ended up being one of the 2 boys that one time.
The one when she was getting off the bus and she was walking home, and he did it, and she tackled him. And the sister did it to the other sister. The Christy McNichol sister did it to the other sister. And I'm like, why is everybody just sneaking up at the last second, putting their hand on their shoulder?
There was something about the Christy McNichol sister that I liked. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, there was something about her I liked.
She was no good.
She lived.
That's no good.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, and that guy had a machete, and he still died.
Yeah, because he got him from behind, because he's sitting there worried about snails.
Yeah, that's true. He was focusing on snails.
He said it was the organic way to kill the snails, and after he said that, I really wanted him to die, and he died 5 seconds later.
Oh, that's right. He was anti-pesticides, yeah. That's right, because the sister says that, right? Or whoever that was. But the sister... The girl that we don't, the one that's the older sister, who was the star basketball player, I guess, and the girl that's actually having the slumber party. I'm telling you, halfway through this movie, I'm like, now wait, which one's this? Who's this? Yeah. Because I was like, they look the exact same. By the way, they both look 35. They did not look 18.
Yes.
But I was like, is this the girl that we saw at the beginning, or is this?
I was like, is that the other one's sister?
Yeah, I was very confused.
Is this the one who's having the party, or is this the one who shares Playgirl with her sister? Which one is it?
The Stallone Playgirl.
Which, by the way,
that was so good.
I have some information on the Playgirl, on who was in the Playgirl.
Well, I know the one guy showed his ass with the dog standing in front of him.
In the Playgirl, Jason is the name of the person that they're looking at in the magazine.
That guy with the naked butt with the dog?
He's athletic type. He enjoys bike riding and tennis and surfing at dawn. He's a straight-A student and planning to be a veterinarian. Does that sound like anybody? Hello? I mean...
Let's just say I had to pause.
This is just spot. Jason.
The only thing we had in common was his name was Jason.
Well, Michelle said when that showed up, she's like, finally a star. She's like, this is like a bunch of nobodies. She's like, so Sylvester Stallone's the biggest star in a movie he appeared in just on the cover of Playgirl?
Is Playgirl still around?
I couldn't even tell you. I don't think I've ever really seen that. Like it's in a movie.
7-Eleven.
I've seen it in a movie, but I don't know if I've ever actually seen a Playgirl like on the racks.
I don't know if I've ever
stuff like
seen
that.
one in.
I was kind of thought it was like an inside
held it,
joke.
or like even seen like where it would be sold. Like where would they be sold?
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven's where they sell Playboys. I guess they sell Playgirls, but I always kind of thought Playgirls were just a joke where they were like, oh yeah, Steven Seagal was in the latest Playgirl. Like, really? Like, you want to see him naked? Like, why?
Erica Laniak.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, she was in Playboy, right?
The composer, we were just talking about the music, Ralph Jones he was the director's brother.
Oh,
And he
nepotism's
but
just
wait,
the worst.
he recorded the entire score on a small Casio synthesizer.
I realized how
So it's like
shitty
your little keyboard.
very
don't you?
early
I
in, this
gotta bring
music
that
was
back
like,
in.
Yes.
it was trying to be Halloween, but much, much shittier. I noticed that. They're like,
Halloween, but shittier.
I heard a song that they wanted to go, dun, 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 but they didn't. They went, I'm like, we get it. You're trying to copy and not doing a very good job of it.
They used a cherry picker for some of those shots up high. I saw because the low budget.
Oh, in the
gym
when they were showing a cherry picker. We have one of them at work. It's very dangerous.
Do you ever drive it?
Yeah, yes.
I have, not recently, and not in the last, not in the year that starts with a 2.
When I worked in Denver, I had one of those ones that it was the boom one, and I would go up to the ceiling, and then I'd have to strap on.
Really?
Yes, strap on onto the boom, and then I have to climb on top of the HVAC, and I was cleaning it. That was a weird job.
That sounds dangerous.
It was very dangerous.
We strapped in as well as
You
strapped
strapped
on.
a strap on. Strapped in a strap on? What else you got, Jay?
I got the guy who played Russ Thorne, Michael Villela.
Yeah.
He actually read the book Helter Skelter to get into character, which didn't seem like there's much to
Did he
the
skip
character.
some pages or something?
He wasn't really scary other than his red eyes.
And just the way he walked, right? Like almost like walked like where he had like the stop motion, like
They were ripping off every
Ollie.
other. They were
Like
ripping off
Lyle.
every
Yeah.
other Halloween, Friday the 13th. Like it looked all like the slow going after the fast, and somehow he catches up and drills them.
Yeah.
I thought he looked like Fred Armisen. Every time I looked at him, I'm like, why is Fred Armisen doing all this?
And when he would swing the drill, like he was cutting people's necks. And
He
stuff.
cut the one girl's neck doing it sideways. I was like,
Yeah.
would that work that
Does
way?
do drills work like that?
that drill was not working like that.
No.
There's no way.
And again, it's like great how that drill is silent until it's actually boring through the wall or the door or something like that. No one heard it start. No one heard it hit the initial. It was just like,
But that was
into ya.
that was another thing. He snuck in that window, right? And he's walking
did.
like
Holy
nobody
shit,
heard
how'd
him.
he sneak in
That was
there?
my thing. That his keys jangle, except that one time. It's the one time he's sneaking up on someone.
But how? There's no way you walk in through somebody's window and not make any sound where they're just sitting there. Ah, la, 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 la. Not,
when they're expecting a murderer,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, come on. What do you got for me?
Expecting the murderer. They're all changing the channel. No one knows this is happening. Nobody read that newspaper.
What was the movie that the girl was watching? Veronica Victoria, whoever the girl across the street was. She was watching a horror movie when the guy was knocking on the door, and then he had the butcher's knife, and the guy had the drill, and somehow he still got killed. She had something.
Yeah,
she was watching something.
I don't remember what that was, but why were they so hung up on the score of this baseball game?
They kept talking about Ron Say, and they're calling the coach
Oh
for
my
the
God,
score.
yeah.
But it wasn't the score; it was how they scored. Like, who the fuck cares?
Do you know what the
won
final
game.
score was?
6-1.
Yes.
Come on, I'm not going to miss another baseball question the rest of this season because I'm lying over there.
I don't even
Mike
remember the
Schmidt and
baseball
Nolan Ryan.
part.
Because that's why they called the
That's what
coach.
the- yeah,
in
that's
the
what they're
middle of
calling
the
the
thing.
coach
They're like,
in.
I know Ron Say hit a homer, but how they scored their other runs, and that's why they called the coach. And the coaches are like, well, of course they scored their runs because blah blah blah. I'm like, in 1982, they still had box scores in a paper. You could read how they scored the runs. Steve Garvey knocked in Davey Lopez or something like that. I just want to throw.
Can I go back to when we were at the school and the first one gets killed?
Yeah, go ahead.
So is that the girl that went back to get her book?
Yes,
that's right.
Linda.
And then gets
that was
locked
Linda.
in.
Locked in
Because when a
inside.
school locks the doors, they make sure you can't get out.
I was like, why are all the doors locked from the outside? Why is this happening?
I made the note too that she tried to get out of a chain door.
Well, after she tried like 10 other doors, but
yeah. I never understood it. This has happened in other movies too. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but like locking a school like that makes no sense.
I have
just not having any kind of like lock on the inside.
How'd they do it so fast?
And in 1982, no one was coming into the school to shoot them up. So this was everybody's got to get out fast because the school's on fire kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the fact that all the doors
you're
were
here past 4:30, you got to sleep here and start.
I've got two other notes about the school itself or things going on in the school.
Go for
it. Shit. Oh yeah. We've, I think, discussed this in other movies before when sports were involved. I forget now. I think there was a baseball catch or game where someone was having a catch, and I was like, didn't they even explain to these people how to throw a baseball realistically?
That was Zach.
Oh yeah,
Zach.
Too mean Levine.
The girls playing basketball in this, I'm like, couldn't they have sent them to
They
a
were
clinic?
terrible.
Couldn't they send them to a clinic for 4 hours? You're all going to play basketball for 4 hours and learn how to dribble and pass the ball.
All you have to do is show them dribble.
Yeah.
And one shot, and then show them go like this, because then now they have to. Then all you have to see is the arms for the shot. You could have done anything.
But they showed these girls dribbling like it was the first time they'd ever held the ball, and they're all up here like bang bang. I'm like, oh my god! And then she said, "Okay,
I got 6 words. 6 words. Michael J. Fox and Teen Wolf. Some people you just can't teach."
I don't remember his terrible basketball skills.
We do that. We do that in 1985.
They tried to teach him, and that's what they ended up with.
One of the girls drove the lane and shot her terrible layup, and I was like, "Oh God!" No,
the dribbling like this.
Yeah,
yes,
dunk,
almost like the palm, like in her hands, like yeah.
So the coach ends the practice by saying, "Okay, varsity basketball has ended. Next week, varsity baseball." I'm like, was that the varsity basketball team? Jesus Christ! When Logan, my younger son, Kevin, I'm throwing this out, younger son for you. These guys know, but when he was a young kid playing basketball on like the CYO team with Brady, we'd go to these churches for the games, and the girls would be playing beforehand. We'd walk in, the score is 2-0, and we would not know who was winning for an hour until the next person scored and the other side cheered, and we're like, oh, it's 4-0 or it's 2-2 now. Now we know who's actually winning this game or was winning because
now it's tied.
Basketball is terrible, and girls' basketball is terribler. I love you, Logan. Basketball's awesome.
Christine was New York State champions.
Her high school team?
Her high school team, yeah. She played. She was a
Wait,
starter.
she won the New York State championship?
Yeah, for she was at a private school.
Oh, that's true.
But
I was going to say, all those like
but she
New York public schools
she
couldn't
traveled to somewhere to play it. It was her junior year, and they were the New York State champion.
Wow, awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And Christine turns 50 when?
Tuesday.
Oh my God.
It says here it is
now you have a 50-year-old wife, Brian.
Oh, not yet.
It is illegal to chain a door closed in a high school. It is considered to be a fire hazard in the event that someone needs to exit the building. They would be prevented from doing so in case of a fire. This high school's doors are chained locked.
I have a note here. It just says crappy high school. That high school looked insanely crappy.
I have one note from the school, and I said, 1 bar of soap for everybody, because the one girl said to the other girl, "Can I borrow that bar of soap?" I was like, are they sharing soap? What's happening? It was the girl that they panned all the way down on her ass. Yeah. She must have gotten an extra like $10 for the day or something like that. We all pan all the way down on you. And
that was the
up.
lead, I think, the girl whose party it was.
Oh, who knows?
The party. Then they had party provisions. Do you know what some of the party provisions they had?
Maui.
Yeah, we don't remember that.
It was Doritos, No-Dos, Benny's, crystal meth.
I have crystal meth in my notes. Oh, that's the guy saying that to them as they're going. I was like, crystal meth was a thing in 1982? I really didn't even think it was a thing then. But obviously it was. This movie is not a retro movie. It's
There was a
of the
nice
time.
shout out to Jim Jones with the "Shut up and drink your Kool-Aid."
He says, and they were making Kool-Aid.
That was one of my notes too.
Yeah,
I saw that note too.
I saw them actually shaking the Kool-Aid.
Nice,
and
Jim
I'm like,
Jones making the podcast. Probably not the first time either. I think we may have talked about him before.
my first fantasy
was
football
very
team ever was the
charismatic.
Jonestown Murderers.
There's a band called the Brian Jonestown Massacre. They're really good.
Yes.
Oh,
I just love how everybody, just 4 years after it happened, was so keen on joking about this.
Right?
Like 900 people died.
they were all asking for it. They all went down there on their own free will. No one asked
We
for
were
it.
making jokes in the schoolyard. We were in 4th grade.
No one asked for the Holocaust or 9/11, but everybody that went to Jonestown was asking for it. That's why we joke about them.
I'll give you that.
Not that congressman.
Can you tell me how many
Oh, yeah,
people
you can-
died in this movie?
You know what? I started
body
taking
count.
Well,
a
at one
body
point,
count.
at one point, he says that's 6, and I was like, "There's only been 5," and then the pizza guy fell into the room. I'm like, "Oh,
There's 6.
now there are 6." And then he murdered. I'm gonna say 10. I'm gonna say 10.
Andy says 10. Brian,
I'm going to say 9.
9. Kevin,
Telephone repair woman, Linda in the showers. Gonna go with so the 2 boys, the neighbor. 11.
you forgot Russ Thorne. It's 12.
Oh.
Yes.
I didn't count him.
That's awesome. That you got it right on.
Yeah.
All the people he murdered was
Yep.
11. That's
Yep.
great.
Yeah. 12.
You win because
I forgot about him. You know, he was the one who deserved the
But
police.
you would win. You didn't go over.
That's true.
Yeah, so
That's what do they call that? Beginner's luck.
Price is Right.
I should have did 1. I still
You would have
would've
lost. But at one point he says that's 6.
He
So
does,
it's-
yeah.
And he's
trying-
shoving them into his trunk.
Yeah.
No, that's
counts
after.
them,
That's
yeah.
after.
Oh, okay.
But when he
No, that's when he's doing the land shark thing from behind the door.
before he kills the pizza delivery guy, he goes, "That's 6." And I'm like, and I did the math already at that point. I'm like, it's only been 5, and then the door opens and it's the pizza. I'm like, oh, that's 6. That's number 6 right there.
One of my notes is eating pizza on dead body.
Andy's got it
Can
too.
you read that last line on my thing?
Eating pizza on top of a dead guy.
Like they rolled him over. Maybe the
Where'd
pizza.
Kevin go?
He probably was like, these guys suck. Probably has to go to the bathroom or something.
We lost him?
He was probably no, he's just not in his seat. But yeah, they rolled him over. The fact that they didn't cover him up for maybe we should cover him. I'm like, there's a dead body there. You just gotta leave him. I was gonna say with his dead eyes staring at him, but what's going on in Canada?
You all right there?
Dying battery.
Oh.
You can tell it's the first podcast.
That reminds me, I better make sure that the whatchamacallit has a good battery.
Oh
They-
my god!
They ordered a pizza. Can you tell me what was on the pizza?
I know she says no anchovies.
Definitely pepperoni, right?
Nah, I know the anchovy thing was named. Don't say
Kevin,
anchovy.
the question is, do you know what
Green olives and green peppers.
green olives and green peppers is incorrect?
Oh.
Andy.
I just remember her saying no anchovies.
No anchovies is correct, but it's also mushrooms and olives.
So it was mushrooms and olives, no anchovies. That's a weird ask. Mushrooms and olives.
Yeah, I don't think I like that pie.
I mean, I would eat it, but
I mean,
I would
have
also
you
eat
ever had
anchovies.
anchovies on pizza?
I have. I like anchovies.
I like anchovies on a Greek salad, but
I eat anything. Throw it in front of me, I'll eat it.
He's Mikey. He eats everything.
hey, Mikey, he likes it.
Oh, at the very beginning of the movie, the first girl killed, the phone repairman,
Phone repair woman, yeah.
as she's in her van
Her
in
name's
broad
also
daylight
Mary.
in the middle of a school. I was like, this guy's decided to start here. This is his first murder
And what
in the middle of a school.
what
there's
was
people
the
all
reason?
around.
What was the reason for who he chose? Like, I mean, she was just there. Is that
Well, I
why he
guess
chose her?
He got a ride out of it too when she was kind of hot, but they could have let her get topless.
That's where he gets the
first.
drill from.
yeah.
And the drill, right? Yeah, they could have let her get topless first and then kill her or something like that.
Yeah.
Waste.
Yeah.
She looked hot.
I got one of my notes about the mom
Go for it.
when she was leaving. She looked and sounded like Shelley Long.
I was thinking the parents might be somebody. I dove deeper into them because I figured at that point they were probably like 40. So they might have had a career, and they did not.
There was nobody from this movie with a career after. I mean, except Amy Holden Jones, the director.
She did good for herself.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
I got to look at my other.
I'm sorry. I've read my notes. I'm done.
That was
Kevin.
That was a good line when she said,
I got something. There's a few moments. There's a number of times here where there's no inadvertent comedy. There is advertent comedy.
Yes.
They're doing stuff on purpose to be funny here. And the first one I noticed was in the high school when he drills through the door to finally get at this girl he's been hunting. Right next to the drill, right there in the shot, is the sign that says emergency drill procedures.
The fact that he happened to look down at that time just to see the blood trickle out of the door. He's standing there for 10 minutes looking, and then he sees the blood.
He just happened to stop in front of that door too, like,
This movie wanted to be a satire. It wanted to be funny, and it wanted to be a horror movie, and it was...
There's multiple sequels.
It did not land on the horror at all. It wasn't scary at all, and it wasn't funny at all.
You got something for the sequels there, Brian?
Slapstick on the refrigerator scene.
Oh, yeah. Oh, where she kept opening the door, and the body's in the door, and she's like...
You're just like, leave it open, damn it.
They were drinking She had a Michelob bottle in her hand, by the way.
They
noticed
were drinking Michelob.
Yeah, I saw that. But yeah, the fact that she kept opening the door, the body would fall a little farther.
I got one about when the girl got home, or the coach got home.
Okay.
And the drill came through the door.
The handyman lady.
Yeah, and the handyman lady was putting in the peephole.
Yeah.
And when she left,
the
peephole
peephole
was hanging out of the door.
It's like
it wasn't
yes,
installed.
it was brand new.
But you never saw her actually go up there and put it up there, and she didn't put it
she
in
never
all the way.
connected. And when she was closing the door, it was like hanging.
So if she
on
looked,
the outside.
if she looked through it, she just
she'd be looking
see the ground.
So in 1982 was this movie. 87 was Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Slumber Party Massacre.
1990 was Slumber Party Massacre 3. And in 2021, they rebooted Slumber Party Massacre.
Jesus, I know it. That was last year.
Yeah.
There was a new one of these?
Did anyone watch it?
No.
I didn't even know.
That gets a 5.0 on IMDb.
So
That's
not
not too
without
shabby.
going in, I didn't research this at all. In Slumber Party Massacre 2, does the guy come back? Is he a Jason or Freddy? Does he keep coming back? Or
The girl from Wings is in that.
Crystal Bernard is in part 2.
really?
Yeah.
Part 2.
I saw
Interesting.
that.
Yeah. There's only 14 people in this.
Well, there's only like 10 in this one. They all got killed. Kevin got the number. 11 people were in it. Oh, and the 3 sisters, so 14. There you go.
I don't know. I don't know who the killer is, but it's the Driller Killer, Atanas Ilitich.
Oh, so
the Driller Killer is the character's name.
Copycat
It's funny you
killer.
should say, what's her name from Wings? Crystal Bernard?
Crystal Bernard. Yeah.
She was in other stuff too. I know her who she is, but
Her top 4: Wings, Slumber Party Massacre 2,
wow, maybe she hasn't been on those.
It's a Living.
It's a living.
I remember that,
Oh, okay.
and Good Burger.
Good burger.
I
Great
feel,
movie.
in my brain, she should be bigger than that, but maybe not. But we were when I was telling Logan that we were doing this movie, and he's like,
He loved this
"Oh,
movie.
and he loves this movie because of the boobies." He was like 12 when he saw it, but I was like, you got Johnny Depp in Nightmare, and you got Kevin Bacon in Friday the 13th, and Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween. There ain't nobody in this movie that ever came in, but she was in part 2. So that's like,
That's surprising, yeah.
So they actually
Because she had a decent career.
she was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like an 80s girl.
It's a living.
And Jillian.
Was that the one?
Jillian, that's right.
Oh, that's right.
Was that the piano bar
You
place?
know what
that-
the show
Piano
was
bar,
until
yeah.
You said Angelica.
Yep.
Jesus.
And I think the piano player's name was Leon. I think I'm
so
going to
they
say.
were all the waitresses there, and he
Waitress
was like the
in
piano bar.
That building in L.A. that's like 3 circular buildings
Yes.
put together.
Is that the Columbia building?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
I've never been to L.A.
It's It's a Living building with the restaurant on top.
Exactly.
Restaurant bar. One of my favorite lines too was they were like, "Diane, you're a snob," and she said, "Only the best people are, you know."
well, I mean, no loser is going to be a snob. They're just a loser, and everybody thinks they're.
And then
a
there
snob.
was your power with the opposite sex will get you ahead. And she says, not too bad. Depends on whose head.
Oh, I missed that one.
I like the Pulp Fiction moment.
What's that?
It was a Pulp Fiction moment because there's this moment where the girl from across the street is running around in the basement trying to find a weapon. So it's just like Butch in Pulp Fiction. And she makes the stupidest choice possible. She grabs this saw that is plugged into the wall.
Oh, that's right. She goes running with it and gets yanked back because she's got the extension cord.
How big is that basement that she ran out of extension cord?
And why did she go? I guess her sister was up there, but I would have just hid down there.
Yeah.
Because even
hide out. Yeah, you're fine.
He threw the pizza delivery guy down the steps. So you know he's upstairs. So now you're safe downstairs. Just stay downstairs.
And why did he take a nap?
Who took a nap?
The killer.
What do you mean take a nap?
He just laid down on the ground and pulled up the
blanket. I think I don't realize he didn't know that the sister was under the couch because the sister saw that. But I think he was pretending to be the dead guy because the dead guy was under that blanket.
Oh, and he threw him down.
And he threw him down the stairs. So he's pretending to be. So he's going to stab whoever.
I didn't get that nuance.
Oh, it was very nuanced, man. Very, very.
A lot of nuance.
Because I asked the same thing at first. I'm like, why is he covering himself up? And I'm like, oh, he's pretending to be the dead.
Yeah, we're here
guy.
for the orgy.
Oh, and when those guys were looking through the window and the girls were all changing, because Michelle said, oh, that happened at all high school slumber parties in the 80s. Everybody just takes their tops off.
Like everybody just changes right in front of each other.
Did it really? And she's like, no. But those guys are like looking through the window, and the one guy's behind him, there would have been a great, like, can you get your dick out of my back for a second? Because you know he was pressed right up against him, looking over his shoulder at a window and that both of you can have your heads in.
And they're not going to hear him or anything out there, all the noise they were making.
The window was open, too, because at one point, she throws the ashtray.
And there's no screen, nothing.
She throws the ashtray out the window. So they've been looking through an open window.
Yep.
Giggling.
Oh, man. It's the fun things you pick up on these terrible movies.
That was really fun stuff there.
We made this better. If you've ever, if you watch Slumber Party Massacre and you've listened to this podcast, please text us and tell us.
Seriously, comment. Give us some comments. Tell us what you think.
Oh my God!
No, look, if I was never going to watch this by myself and then go to sleep and never talk about it again. The only reason I watched this was because I knew I was going to be able to bullshit with other people about it.
Kevin, can I ask you how did you find us, man? You know, we are a nothing podcast with a nothing listening audience, and somehow you found us. And that's not indicting
because I found you in your previous life. At some point during the pandemic, I fell into a Love Boat rabbit hole.
Oh wow!
So
that's awesome.
I was watching Love Boat and
which I was doing.
Podcast that covers Love Boat. There was not. But then I checked again a few months later, and holy shit, there is one. And like I said, there came a point where I realized, their hearts are not in this anymore.
That was my heart, I think.
First 3-hour podcast to cover a 45-minute episode of The Love Boat. I said, this cannot continue.
Listen,
but I'm glad you continued with us.
I still like The Love Boat, and I'll watch it to this day if it's on. You know
are you still like, is that part of your post-COVID life now? You still watching Love Boat, or?
I got a problem with it. Unfortunately, I would have run into a wall eventually anyway, because Canadian Paramount Plus doesn't carry The Love Boat.
We have it on our Paramount
you
Plus.
Need a VPN.
Has it? Yeah, VPN.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would have needed to keep it going.
Why is that? Why is it like in one country, not another?
Who knows, man? That's
somebody in Canada owns the rights who's different than the guy who owns the rights in the U.S., and they don't want to make a deal with that guy because he's a pain in the ass.
I don't know how they keep. I don't know how someone's keeping all this shit straight. Like,
or when a TV station would be like, Fox is going to strike and I'm not going to have such and such station. And you're like, what?
Yeah, because this guy over here doesn't get enough money. I'm not getting my TV.
Yeah.
I always, like with the Lord of the Rings show now, Power of the Rings, like they have like rights to like 7 pages in the back of a book. And I'm like, what happens if they just all of a sudden decide to remake Lord of the Rings?
They spent $1 billion on 7 pages.
What happens if all of a sudden the next episode of Rings of Power is Fellowship of the Ring? And you'd be like, well, you can't do that. And they'll be like, fucking sue us then. We're Amazon. We'll bury you in lawsuits, and you'll never see a dime from this. So why don't they just remake Lord of the Rings?
Yeah,
Because Lord of the Rings is like perfect.
I'm using that as a bad example because they're basically like they have this much, but just do it all. Just do it all. Because I listen to a podcast about Lord of the Rings or about Ring of Power, and they're talking about like, well, they can't talk about this because they don't own this book, and they can't talk about this because they don't own. I'm like, who cares? Who cares? Just do it and deal with the consequences after, because they'll be able to win it, or they'll be able to.
Yeah, I keep wondering if this giant with the Harfoots on Rings of Power is Gandalf, and they can't fucking tell us.
Yeah,
it's Gandalf because they don't have the rights to Gandalf. That's pissing me off. Well,
it's the fact that they can't even call them hobbits,
and they don't make that clear.
Yeah, they got to call them something
they
else.
They can't even call them hobbits because they don't.
Are you caught up on it?
No.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I haven't watched this most recent episode, so but I keep
halfway through.
I keep hearing like Gandalf or Sauron. Now you have Amazon Prime. You can get this on Amazon Prime in Canada.
Yeah, no problem there.
Well, I guess because they own it, so they can just put it on their own service.
Do you have the boys there in Canada?
Yeah.
So I think Amazon Prime is.
It's Prime,
yeah. Wherever you are,
because I think Netflix is different.
Is not the issue. It's stuff that goes back, like the Love Boat, where it becomes a problem.
Right? Because someone bought the international rights.
But I think different. Like
ago.
Netflix is different.
Oh, for sure. Some things
like
Netflix doesn't have in some countries. Yeah.
Oh, Netflix is terrible in Canada.
It's terrible in America too.
To watch Red Dwarf, you have to VPN out of England.
Yeah.
So it's available on England's Netflix, but it's not available on
anywhere else.
Not even like on. Is it Red Dwarf? It's a British show?
That's a British show. Yeah.
So it's not even on like the BBC somewhere or
one of their
networks.
I think Netflix is the only place to watch it.
But only British Netflix.
Only British.
Brexit
Brexit flicks.
So Kevin, how long have you been listening to us? When did you think you started?
Did you go back and retro listen?
Does it make me sad and pathetic if I did?
Oh my God!
I did.
I was going to say, please say no. Please say no.
I caught you guys around the 4th episode, and I went back and listened to the other 3.
Oh, that's okay.
That's cool.
Not that bad.
That's cool.
Wow, you got us on the 4th episode.
Yeah, well, I was looking for Love Boat content.
Did you like the Halloween
You
episode?
were the only Love Boat content, and then you proved why you're the only Love Boat content.
And tell them where we were when it came up.
Oh, we were coming back from a Louis C.K. stand-up show, yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
Jason said he wanted to do a podcast. I said, let's do it. I know a guy.
I said, I see there's podcasts on this show, there's podcasts on that show, and there's podcasts on old shows and stuff like that. I said, and I was like, you know what, there's not a podcast on? I said, on the Love Boat. Next day, he made a Twitter for the Love Boat.
Wow.
I was bored at work.
You know what's really sad is as I had all this stuff and I didn't have a podcast.
See, that's much sadder.
This is all Brian's equipment.
Oh, yeah. Brian keeps paying for it. Jason and I just sit here and look cute.
We bring the content. Boom.
That's right.
My stupid dog bit me on the ear today, and these headphones are starting to bother me. But anyway.
Damn, it took out your eyebrow. Now it's taking out your ear.
She's a vicious little monster.
And she's what, 3 pounds?
She was just all over my shoelaces upstairs.
I don't know if she's 3 pounds.
She was all over my shoelaces. I moved left, she was there. Boom, boom, boom. She's quick. But I think we need to get some scores. What do you think? Should we get some scores?
I think
down.
I have a score.
All right, we can start with you.
Why don't we start with you? Because we've been making you go last.
We
make you go first
because he's always.
Yeah, so why don't we start with you again?
I'm gonna say 72. I enjoyed this movie.
72 for Brian.
Even in absence of the boobies, I think I would have enjoyed this movie.
So 72 with boobs, sans boobs. What are we talking here?
Probably 65.
Okay.
About the same score as Basket Case. That pan down was great. Oh my God. The shower scene pan down.
Who wants to go next? I don't think I can go next.
I'm going to go next, and I'm going to say 50.
Wow.
It's one of those movies I watched a lot as a young kid. I didn't remember much of it when I watched it now. It's been... I hadn't watched this since probably high school.
Well, let's say you watched a lot of this when you were a kid. Did you make it past like the shower scene?
I watched
nobody had died yet at that point, so it's not even a horror movie.
I watched the whole movie because this was not part of my masturbatory.
Oh, okay.
I used other things. at that time. I wasn't using this movie for those purposes.
Got it.
But I give it a 50. It's a movie I would watch again in a group setting. I would watch with other people, but I don't need to watch it by myself again unless I'm going to podcast on it. But I think 50, because I can go either way with it.
Kevin, you want to go?
Yeah, I thought it was about a 65. Yeah, I had fun with it. I enjoyed it. And even without the boobies, I think he probably gets a lower rating. But honestly, most of the boobies are done about 10 minutes in.
Yep.
After you're done with the shower scene. So after that, it's just
they are top of the line 1982 boobs, though. They definitely beat Porky's boobs.
Well, they were all 35-year-old women, so they had very nice breasts.
It's where tropes were born. Like somebody literally throws a cat out of a closet. I mean,
that's true.
So it's fun. It's an archaeological expedition into the beginnings of stupid shit that we made fun of for the next 40 years.
That leaves you.
Andy doesn't want to give a score.
This movie was fucking terrible. Like I was pissed by the end that I wasted an hour and 20 minutes of my life watching
17.
Whatever it was. I mean, I'm giving this a 10. Like I will never watch this again. Maybe the first 10 minutes I'll watch sometime if I can get like online. But
this is worse than his Grease 2
Oh
score.
my god, this was fucking terrible.
You don't like this more than Grease 2?
Maybe I like it about Grease 2.
What was Logan's score? Did he give it to us upstairs or no?
Well, Logan was like 12 when he watched this.
I know, but he
gives
was
it 100.
I can't remember if he gave us a score because Michelle gave a score. Michelle gives a score of -2.
-2?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
This is after you have to explain to Michelle on a scale from 1 to 100. And she's like,
remember how hard that was?
What? What's that
She
mean?
did not understand that, man. And she still was like, she's like, I give it a 7. I'm like, what are you doing?
We added this movie after I erred in judgment not putting it on our schedule originally. And now I know why I didn't put it on our schedule originally.
It needed to be on the schedule, though.
Oh, no, it's fine. I don't regret watching it, but I will
I'm thrilled
never
that this got put on the schedule.
I will never watch this again.
Now, this is also the first time he's ever seen it.
Yeah.
Brian had never seen this before.
This was not scary. It wasn't funny.
It was not scary at
all. I mean,
all.
like, I guess you got some boobs. At
There's
the
really no point.
It
makes no sense why this is even a story.
It wasn't a story.
But the boobs.
I wish we could name our episodes, because if we could, it would be but the boobs.
But the boobs.
Rotten Tomatoes gives this. Critics gave it a 39, and the audience gave it a 46.
Wow.
So I'm right there. I'm right there with the audience. Kevin a little higher, and Brian with an astronomical 72.
I'm definitely watching this movie again.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Did you watch it with anybody like Brady, or did anybody watch with you?
Well,
Or?
Brady had already seen this with my son.
That's right.
Like
yeah.
5 years
and
ago.
Brady liked it. I think Brady.
They were 12 or 13.
As I was going to say, Brady was also
They're
a fan
not
of it. Yeah.
trying to hit each other in the backs with their boners the whole time they were watching it.
Well, good news. Guess what you're talking about next week?
What's next week? Halloween continues.
Yeah, we're going to have a special guest next week as well. Dana's going to join us next week.
Wow.
That can only mean one thing.
What's that?
Are we doing Poltergeist next
We're
week?
doing Poltergeist. What do you think of that, Brian?
I love Poltergeist. I'm going to give it a high
So
score.
this is our first horror movie that you've seen before.
Yes. I have a story about Poltergeist.
Well, we'll
so.
say
Say that for the podcast.
Yes.
Kevin,
Poltergeist, yes. That made it up
That's
there?
a good one.
Okay, good.
That's definitely, this is the first, horror movie that you're doing that, people actually recognize as being a good one.
Well, I mean, we did Creep Show, but besides Creep Show, we have not seen any real horror yet.
Creep Show dropped this evening, Kevin. So you have that to listen to.
Okay, that's the first good one.
Yeah. But really, we've done a lot of shitty horror
16
movies so
minutes. 16 minutes it drops.
Oh, okay. Well, it's dropping tonight.
Oh, it's dropping it a little bit, yes. But so next week we have Poltergeist, and it's been really cool having you on.
Yeah, Kevin, thank you so much, man. I hope now that you've seen how this happens and seen our faces live, you continue to.
Yeah, maybe.
I can see how this would be off-putting and gross.
I speak for all of us, I think, but I would love to have you on again if you had a good time. I mean, right? I mean, I think it went well with the hookup, the setup, and everything, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's actually kind of cool having you sitting there all big on the computer.
I think so too. I could see him. We're definitely talking to him. It's like you're right there.
Yeah. I had fun. I'd be happy to do it anytime. If you guys are good, I'm good to come back and do anything, post Halloween.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah, definitely. We'll keep in touch and follow us on the gram like you do, because you can basically find us everywhere, Kevin. Spreaker is our website, and we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. You can get us everywhere you get your podcasts. The Jazoo on Instagram, Jazoo74. Guess what, Andy? I'm Jason.
I'm Andy, AE Gonzo 1, AE Gonzo 1970 on Something and Something.
And I'm Brian, Papa Bad Kitty.
And he's
Just plain Kevin.
Kevin.
Thanks,
Thank
Kevin.
you so much, man. Take it easy, buddy.
Take it easy, guys.